This video is not intended for anyone 13 or younger. Viewers, and welcome back to another My Hero Academia chapter reaction. And today we're going to be tackling chapter 273. And last chapter, oh boy, a lot of heroes are basically dead, and Shigaraki is finally awake and basically already slaughtered 11 heroes at this point, as far as I know. And that includes Crust, who's dead, and probably Wash, who's dead, and 13, who's probably dead. Maybe, because we haven't until reconfirming things. So let's just get into continuing on where we left off, and let's see what happens, and let's see how many more heroes get butchered and maimed by Shigaraki. So until then, let's get started with chapter 273. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It only takes 2 simple clicks. Click, click. Enjoy the episode. And we start off with the chapter of chapter 273, continuing where we last left off with Midoriya doing his Air Force attack of 45%. And throughout the panels we see Midoriya's attack on Shigaraki's corruption decay, but afterwards it just keeps going. So yeah, not even Air Force can slow it down. And on the next page, the decay is still going, and Uraraka's freaking out about this, and she says, "That didn't stop it. It's not just some kind of shockwave." As we see, the decay just keeps going, and Froppy points it out, just saying, "Everything's crumbling to dust." And Midoriya realizes what's going on, and we get a flashback to when we have a flashback to Midoriya at the mall with Shigaraki, and Shigaraki's just explaining his quirk, saying, "The second all 5 of my fingers touch your neck, your throat would start crumbling from the skin inward. You turn to dust under a minute." And then Midoriya realizes and says the obvious, it's Shigaraki. But we get rudely interrupted when Shoto puts up a giant ice wall, and Shoto's calling it heaven-piercing ice wall. And by the looks of the last panel on page 3, I don't think it actually works and slows down the decay, and it just keeps going. And it's just eating through the ice, doing practically nothing. And next page, the ice, obviously the ice wall falls down, and the decay still keeps going, with Burnin saying, "Run, people!" And we see our heroes trying to escape from the decay as much as they can, and we see Bakugo lifting up a kid by the mouth, and another folks by the mouth. Uraraka using her zero gravity, and Froppy just doing her thing. And Burnin continues saying, What's up at the hospital? Somebody, please respond." And we see multiple panels of Shoto and the other heroes, and the other class 1A and class 1B, and one of the top 3 still trying to outrun it and try to stop the decay, but it's not going to work. We have Burnin continues saying, "Endeavor, Ryukyu, anyone," and we see Midori using Black Whip to carry a whole bus and few people. And that's all we get from 1A for now, and we get our title drop while Burnin finishes up and saying, "What's going on?" As we continue with the My Hero Academia logo with Kohei Horikoshi, Caleb Cook as translation lettering John Hurt once again, And we get our title for the chapter with chapter number 273, The Thrill of Destruction. As we cut back to Shigaraki, and where the only bit that remains of the entire hospital while the corruption is still going on. And Shigaraki is still just sitting there and just looking at it. And Shigaraki continues looking at a machine that's mostly damaged. And he opens up the capsule, some kind of capsule cooler. And inside we see the little tubes inside it, and yeah, it's implied to be a giant centrifuge for one of the Mad Doctor's experiments. And Shigaraki starts talking and saying, "Darn! After the doc went all that trouble to make more, most of them are now ruined. Overhaul would be so disappointed." And he's talking about the quirk erasing bullets that he got from Overhaul. At least that's a bit of a positive side that Shigaraki doesn't have the quirk eraser bullets. And we get a weird multi-panel, 3 panels with Shigaraki, like throbbing in pain and getting a new voice in his head. Stroy. Don't know who that is. And we quickly cut over to where the Mad Doctor's remote was when he dropped it on the floor a couple of chapters back. And Shigaraki picks it up and with Shigaraki continues saying, "Sweet, guess I can choose when to make stuff decay now." And with Shigaraki picking up the remote, Shigaraki continues saying, "Seems like things aren't looking good for us. But the plan was supposed supposed supported to supposed to start right after I woke up, right?" And we see on the next page we get a full page spread of Shigaraki just finishing and talking to the remote, and he says, "To me, Magantia, and bring the others. When this is when we destroy everything." And we get that full page look of Giga finally waking up, standing up, and knowing that Shigaraki needs Giga right now. So Giga is basically on his way. That's so yeah, the heroes are basically screwed at this point. And we quickly also cut back to the battle at the Mountain Villa Hotel, about 80 kilometers from the Jakku Hospital. We continue where we left off with Tokoyami flying off with Hawks from 2 chapters ago, and Fat Gum sees him, and he says, "Whoa, just a sec," and Tokoyami just interrupts saying, "Fat Gum." And we cut to with Fat Gum looking and seeing Hawks, his body, and Fat Gum continues saying, there should be medics in the rear guard. Go there." And Tokoyami just says, "Roger that." And then we cut back to the battle, and we got Cementos and some random person, starting with the random person saying, "You okay, Cementos?" And Cementos continues saying, "Yes, I'll bring down that ice mountain in a moment." And we cut back to Mount Lady fighting Gadan, and she is mightily pissed after getting chucked from 2 chapters ago again, with Mount Lady saying, "You jerk, that really hurt. So cute, curbed or crushed, what will it be?" And then we cut away to a bunch of random heroes while this fight going on, and we do get a bit of Mount Lady's ass in the panel. And we see these four random mooks continuing saying, "Follow in Mount Lady's wake. We're still in control here, so keep rounding them up." And we see one of the heroes notice something and saying, "Hang on. Did you capture Himiko, Toga, and Mr. Compress?" And yeah, we see that one of the heroes with them was the one who was with Toga and Mr. Compress, but he kind of cut the the and he's basically dead right now. So this has to be an imposter. So it looks like Toga has shapeshift again. And on page 15, as soon as I said that, the fake the fake hero who went after Toga quite some time ago just does a quick little shink and just chops off the hero's head, and that guy's dead. And now, yeah, this is basically Toga just killing like at least 6 more people. Well, technically, at least two, three, 2 or 3 more people, and the other 2 only got shoulder like scars on their arms. Huh? That must be. And then we have Toga just going nuts. And we quickly cut away upstairs to where Dobby and Mr. Compress are, and Dobby starts a conversation with Mr. Compress, with Dobby saying, "Mister, where are the others?" And Mr. Compress continues saying, "Dobby, where did you run off to? You meant to be a lieutenant." So are you? And Mr. Compress continues saying, "The whole regiment system doesn't really work when they catch us off guard. Anyway, wanna blow this joint?" And Mr. Compress I think that I think the person who was saying it after Mr. Compress was Dobby, it seems, I think. Mr. Compress continues saying, "I believe Twice was killed." And yeah, Dobby knows that Twice is dead, and Mr. Compress continues saying, "Alas, I tried, but I failed to stop her. Even though jumping into the fray was tantamount, tan, tan, amount to suicide. I never seen little Toga lose her cool like this." As we quickly cut back to the battle, we see that Toga has also slaughtered more heroes, most likely, and she is on a blood rage, going crazy, killing people after the whole loss of Twice a few chapters back. And yeah, people who are friends with Twice are going to be super upset and just go on a blood rampage. And we have Toga continuing as she starts shapeshifting back into her normal self, saying, "Hard to keep living." And we get a little snippet of getting Orca as Toga continues saying, "I want a world where I can live nice and easy. A world with just the things I love." And we get a nice last panel page spread of Toga saying on page 16, "But you heroes mess everything up." And we get like really good artwork from Horikoshi with Toga just having her mouth still gooped up still, and her eyes are still like a demon's eyes, and like she's on a bloody rampage. And on the next panel, we see a continuation of what's going on with what comes out of the ground. We see a gigantic hand just pops out of the ground, while very good artwork with the hand popping out of the ground in the background with Toga in the foreground, comparing to with a nice full page full page full page art on that. That really good artwork from Horikoshi, and it's a good use of the full page, a single page art to compare a small thing to from the foreground to something larger in the background, having Giga's hand coming out of the ground like that, and Giga's basically on his way to get to Shigaraki as soon as possible. So nice on the artwork then, Horikoshi. But then we get a bit of the narration kicking in saying, meanwhile, back at the ruins of Jakku Hospital, we continue where we see Shigaraki is going to do some after his radio call to Giga. Guess who shows up and starts to pick a fight with the new improved Shigaraki. And it's Endeavor who comes in badass looking, getting into fight the newly improved Shigaraki and just about to deck him in the face with a fireball. And we do get a little more art, a full page spread of Shigaraki's new costume, and I like it. The cape is a lot better. I think it works a little much better with the cape, and we don't get a full details on his new suit. And the new suit looks rather cybernetic as far as I know so far, but I can't wait to see it in its full anime glory. And we have Endeavor looking frickin' pissed off in the second to last panel, just about to punch Shigaraki in the face, with Endeavor saying, Shigaraki! And we have Shigaraki just having the last panel of the chapter saying, just only saying, number one, you're one hell of a wake-up call. And that's the end of the chapter and we won't be getting another chapter until June 7th. So yeah, we're getting into a Shigaraki versus Endeavor fight. And we kinda know what might happen.
Gonna die.
Yeah. I don't think Endeavor is not gonna survive Shigaraki, so yeah, I think Endeavor's gonna die in this fight. Even though that it wouldn't make sense story-wise, because we still have the stuff with Dobby, and I thought Dobby was going to be the one who's gonna kill Endeavor because of the whole theory about the whole being Dobby being a Todoroki after all, and it's all heavily implied that it is true. So yeah, I know this chapter is like really short, not really mentioning jokes and going through the chapter, so yeah, this is just basically a setup chapter for the fight between Shigaraki and Endeavor, and yeah, I don't see Endeavor walking away out of this fight alive. I would be super surprised if Endeavor actually survives. But we could be surprised. So until then, I know this is a short chapter this week. So until then, this is your humble host Josh24214, and I will see you next week for maybe a Shigaraki versus Endeavor fight. So until then, have a good day, everybody, and I'll see you next time.